Hi, my name is Montina Portis. I want to welcome you today to the Legal Marketing Matters show right here, Blab podcast website, wherever you're listening in on. And I'm excited about our show today because a lot of times I'm blabbing all by myself, just blabbing. And I'm used to doing that because I'm a natural YouTuber. So, YouTube, we love to talk on video, but I'm excited today because I have a guest on the show and he's an amazing lawyer, and I can call him the best because he can't call himself that. So I can actually say that. So I'm going to read some just information from his bio. Once we get started, you'll see him here as well. Other things, just quick housekeeping. If you want to go ahead and add your comments in, make sure that you're tweeting about this, throw it out on Facebook, whatever your preferred platform is. We would love to have you share the show. We're going to talk really on the angle of legal marketing. So if you are a solo or small law firm, you're in the right place because I have a guest today that is really rocking it out, small law firm. Also, you can follow our guests and make sure that you ask questions as well. So again, the focus of our show today is on legal marketing, really on how to market your firm, what's working and what's not working online, how do you actually build authentic relationships online. And bottom line is, I had a coach tell me once, you want to be profitable or you want to be popular. Popularity doesn't count online if you're not actually creating profits or growing, clients from that and growing your firm. So we're going to talk about that as well. Again, my name is Montina Portis, and I'm with Creative Internet Authority. We are a full-service marketing agency. We specialize in legal marketing for solo and small law firms. So our guest today, all right, thank you, Moto. Our guest today is Mr. Mitch Jackson, 2013 California Lawyer of the Year, 2019 OC Trial Lawyer of the Year. He's a speaker, live streamer, legal change evangelist. And I wanted to read that directly from his Twitter because you should be following him on Twitter at Mitch Jackson on Twitter. You can also find out more information about him at streaminglawyer.com and mylawyerrocks.com. And he gets it right because he even has it hashtagged. And we can use that hashtag today as well. My lawyer rocks. Get that hashtag, my lawyer rocks. All right, so make sure that you're using that hashtag. And you can also visit him at mylawyerrocks.com. So, Mitch, I can get into all of the about you and the accolades. One of the reasons why I wanted to invite you on as my guest, one of my first official guests on Blab, is because I notice you, right? So I'm a legal marketer. I'm out here and we actually do marketing for solo and small law firms. And so I'm paying attention. I'm stalking those that get it right because I'm on the angle that if you're getting it right, then it's, information that can also help our solo and small law firms. And you're doing a fantastic job building relationships. So
thank you.
I want you to talk about you, to your horn a little bit. Tell us, how you got started. Why did you decide to enter the practice of law?
Well, first, let me just say thanks for having me on your show. I love your work. I like what you're doing. I like how you're engaging on social. And, it's funny when you just reach out and start trying to help people, when you start trying to add value, everything else falls into place. And you said something during your intro, and I just want people to know, look, there's a lot of people over in the comment section. There'll be people watching the recorded version of this blab who are probably mutual friends of both of us. And what's really exciting, Montina, is just being on the platforms and having an opportunity to help others. And so that's what got me involved with the practice of law. I grew up always enjoying helping other people. And I had a long talk with my dad after college. I thought I wanted to be a full-time ski bum up in Lake Tahoe. He twisted my arm, and to make a very long story short, I got into the legal profession and became an attorney. But one thing my dad pointed out to me is, Mitch, if you really want to help people the way you're telling me you want to help people, this is a great path to take. And looking back 30 years later, it was some of the best advice I've ever gotten. So that's kind of my short story. And, when you talk about your introduction, Montina, I mean, the bottom line, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a father. I like coaching youth sports. I love living life. That's what I do. I also happen to be in the body of a full-time trial lawyer. So it just kind of all comes together.
I like that, in the body of a full-time trial lawyer. And so once again, for those of you that are paying attention, thank you for, one thing I like about Blab is you all are a great community. So
cool. So cool.
We're blabbing, you're sharing the information over and the links. And I like to do that when I'm on Blabs as well. So I wanted to just pause and say, hey, we appreciate what you're doing. So Mitch, I have some questions here that I actually wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Some very specific ones that I have actually up here. That's coming under. So you're focused more in the trial section. So talk to now for me, before I got into the legal niche, I'm thinking there were only a few practice areas. There were over 100 practice areas. So talk specifically about how you actually help your clients, or can you tell us a story about maybe something recent that's happened that you can share with us?
You mean using social media, using live streaming?
Well, actually, just from a client perspective, from your practice area. Have you picked up clients? Or actually, yeah, talk to us about how you picked up clients or a client from social media.
Regardless of what everyone does for a living who's watching this show, whether you're making shoes down in the corner market, whether you're selling Subway sandwiches, whether you're practicing law, what's really cool about social media, what I've learned since putting our first website up in 1996, is that it allows you to expand your sphere of influence. It allows you to help other people. And so what we've been able to do is jump on these platforms. We kind of leave the legal hat over in the side of the office. I save that for court, and try to come on these platforms and answer the most often asked legal questions that we get every single day at the firm. And we try to share our answers in a way where it's easy to digest, it's easy to understand, and it's full and complete. We share our secret sauce. Most lawyers are afraid of sharing their secret sauce because they're afraid that that potential client won't turn around and hire the lawyer for legal help. And that's really not the way the human brain is wired. Once you develop trust, once you develop rapport, then these people want to step up and they ask you for their help. And that's why we're on the legal platforms. I've got hundreds, not dozens, but hundreds of examples of different cases where we've been initially contacted from a client that relationship started online, and then we took it offline and into the courtroom and helped solve their problem. So it's just been a great experience. And, I could keep going on and on forever. I am a lawyer, that's what I like to do. And so what I'm going to do is stop and then let you follow up with any follow-up questions or what have you.
What I like what you said was the secret sauce. So for many of the attorneys that we work with, when we go in, the questions I ask them, what are the most common questions that people are asking you? And okay, outside of the FAQ on your website, we're going to create videos answering all of these questions. It's like, well, what happens if I create all these videos and are they still going to ask the questions? Yes, they're going to find the answers to the questions and they're going to pick up the phone and call you because now you're positioned as the authority. Another thing I like that you said with the secret sauce, I have to piggyback off of that because, of course, I wrote a book, How to Market Your Law from Online. And in
great book, by the way. I've read it, and thank you, and it's a great book. Highly recommend it.
Thank you. And the one thing I often don't tell when I give attorneys this book, when we send out our direct mail campaigns, it's my business card. I have one page in here that's a front and back that is considered a sales copy page. And it's basically like, look, there's a lot of information here. And if you want us to help you do it, great. But there's really no secret to success online. It's just like Mitch was saying, get out here and answer the questions. So I love that. Now I'm going to piggyback with that because sure. I do want to ask you, talking about candid advice. Now, I'm going to tell you, I earned my master's about 10 years ago, and I don't remember Facebook being around. I suppose it was. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm almost 40. But I'll tell you, there's so many distractions. I don't know that I would have a Facebook page and Twitter and all of these things, but they're important because that's a way for, again, a young attorney to position themselves in such a way as they get out to build relationships and gain clients. So talk about what candid advice would you have for students entering law school? How do they kind of guard themselves around too much social media and maybe not getting the great grades in school?
Well, I'll tell you what, my answer might surprise you, but I don't think they can get enough social. I think they need to dive into the digital platforms head first. If they're not developing a relevant digital footprint in today's world, they may not have a job to go to. They may not have a practice to go to in five or 6 years. That's how important I think this is. I spoke at Chapman University last week for Professor Nicholas Meir to 2 classes, business marketing, internet marketing, social media classes, and we talked about developing their digital footprints. And what I would tell young law school students is the same thing I told the students and talked about with the students in Professor Meir's classes, and that is start right now developing your digital footprint. Start blogging about things that are of interest to you. If you're a lawyer and you like motocross, or you're a law school student, you're thinking about becoming a lawyer and you like racing motocross, talk about racing motocross as it might apply to different legal situations. The assumption of risk doctrine, professional motocross racers entering into contracts with major providers, manufacturers, motocross bikes and things like that. Start developing your digital footprint, because I told the kids at Chapman, I get resumes and CVs every day from young lawyers that come into the office. They look like this. That's what I do with them. I don't read them, okay? I mean, I'm serious. And what I do is I go online and I try to figure out, what is this person all about? What is Montina's, passions? What does she write about? What does she blog about? What does she do videos about? That's what captures my attention. And this applies to any industry. And so the long answer to your short question is, I would actually encourage them to embrace all of this. We don't differentiate anymore between practicing law and engaging on the digital platforms. To me, everything falls into the 9 to 5 here at the office, or before work or after hours. This is all one big social blur. I mean, how can you, if building a business is all about building relationships, how can you limit building relationships and the task of building relationships to 9 to 5, or only to when you want to? As a matter of fact, if I'm going to really build a relationship, I have to engage and interact with somebody when they want to, not when I want to. So we kind of synergistically incorporate all of the above into our daily practice of law, and it's really, really worked out well for us.
I love what you said. And your answer did surprise me a little bit, but not much, because recently I was at a law association event that I spoke at, and my agency, we typically will do free law firm videos, just 60 seconds, but they need a footprint online, and I believe it's that important. And so that's what we do. So I had a few law students, graduates, pass the bar, and I'm like, go do a video. And they're like, no, what am I going to do a video about? I said, really? You're going to do a video about being a law student and the practice areas that you're interested in, and you're going to have a link from it, your resume to your video. And they were young too, so I was a little bit surprised. But again, when resumes come my way, we have a staff, I have a team that works for me. The first thing I do is put their name in a Google search, and whatever comes up, and your social media comes up, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. And guess what? Now we term it as too lazy to put in your picture, well, then what else is lacking there? So again, you want to make sure. So I love that answer. I'm going to be speaking on a panel, and I'm going to use that information so that they know it's there, Mitch. Thank you for that.
Well, what's interesting is Jen mentioned her only advice would be to avoid social while studying for the bar. My daughter just took the LSAT on Saturday. She and a bunch of her friends, right? So she's got her life back. She studied all summer long. I will tell you, the students, the kids, they put all this aside as much as possible. Getting ready for the LSAT. You have to take care of business. When I'm in the middle of a trial, my focus is on taking care of business in the courtroom, not responding to every tweet and every other social media direct message or what have you. But when that's not the case, this has a high priority. And I think young adults getting into whatever profession you're thinking about getting into, you have to make it a high priority. That's how important this is. So anyway.
I love talking to you.
I'll keep going.
To take care of business. And I'll tell you, Mitch, one of the things, when you're online, and of course, I will tell you this, you and Nicola Boot, I'm sure she'll be joining, and Scott there in Maryland have been very supportive. I actually just started in this vertical this year. April was when we picked up actually our first client. Okay. And it's because I had been online since 2009. I left the largest IT financial company in the country. I walked away last year and said, I am going to have my own business. And kind of when my hobby exceeded my income, it just made sense. And part of it was an integrity issue. I worked from home and I wanted to be online. And so I'll tell you from that, saying that much with the support, I was surprised when, hey, Mitch, can I send you a book? In the DM, absolutely, yes. He answered me. And I was surprised when, you have thousands of followers on Twitter and where you still take the time to respond. And I'll tell you, I have about 27,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I wrote a book about YouTube. And I tell people, one of the reasons why that channel grows, and I'm not as active as I used to be though, I still take time, and it might take me an hour if I, when I go in on a specific day, but I respond to every single one of the comments. So talk about how important it is to be authentic, because I really want to hear your response to that.
I think it's really important to be authentic and to engage your audience, whatever that audience may be, like you just mentioned. And, it's interesting. It's important to be authentic, but I think you also have to be smart about it. If you're a financial planner and you're so authentic that you're complaining about the woeful financial situation you and your family are in because of poor decisions that you made, even though you're very authentic and transparent with doing that, it doesn't build a lot of credibility and a lot of confidence in your audience with them turning around and hiring you for their next financial need. So I think you have to be smart about what's going on. But, when it comes down to professionals, to lawyers, building relationships online, marketing their practice, their profession, I think it comes down to 1 7-letter word. And it's actually 2 words, but it's be human. It's a single mnemonic that I use, BEHUMAN. And when lawyers learn how to do that with each letter standing for a particular concept, one has to do with engagement. Okay, one has to do with authenticity. That's where they start seeing magic happen.
One of the things that we say in my agency, and things have come and crossed the lines when I used to help people with YouTube and I had online clients, but we talk about acing it. Attract, connect, engage, and inspire people to take action. And a lot of people don't realize inspire is to breathe life into. When people come to you and they need an attorney, I of course, because I work with attorneys every day, it seems like someone's saying, do you know someone that can? But there are only times in people's lives, maybe once or twice, when they actually call on an attorney for a need. And if they have something tragic where they need a personal injury attorney, a trial attorney, criminal law attorney, these are times in their lives when they need someone that's human, that cares, and that is authentic. So, and they're engaged. How often do we just talk to people? And sometimes outside of my networking events, and they're all over the place with thinking, who can they put their business card, who can they shove it in front of that person's face instead of just that one person in the room could be the person that knows all of the people that you need to meet.
And it's so much bigger than that, actually, because, I agree with everything you just said, but it's actually bigger than that because what we've looked at over the last 3.5 years of the new clients coming to us through social, about 60% of those people weren't actually the people in my audience. They were friends or family of the people in my audience who had a legal problem and didn't know what to do. So they asked someone and someone would say, well, you know what? I follow this lawyer on Twitter. He seems like a pretty good guy. He's got some experience. You should give him a call. So your audience is actually substantially bigger than you think it is. Mm-hmm. But then again, I'm doing all this, Montina, for actually a bigger reason. And the bigger reason for me is I want to change how the consumer, how the public looks at lawyers and looks at the law. Okay. Mm-hmm. And by trying to share good information, not necessarily having a call to action, valuable resources, by empowering them with what's really going on in the world, with our rights being stripped by large corporations, your right to jury trial is being abrogated and taken away, and instead consumers, whether they know it or not, are signing forced arbitration and mediation agreements and things like this. There's a place for all of that, but the bottom line is our rights are being stripped from us. And so I use these platforms to try to actually send out a bigger message. And I think indirectly, all of the other things you've talked about come back: trust, rapport, perceived expertise. I get all that. But after 30 years of doing this, I've got actually a little bigger agenda with what I'm doing here. And it's really to empower the little guy, to empower the everyday citizen with taking back his or her legal rights and making the country a better place.
Be empowered to take back our legal rights. I like that. And you know what? It's true because, and it's true. It's much bigger. And I'll tell you, I do have a big agenda online. It's very strategic. But, when I had a friend, actually, I've come to you for referrals a few times. Hey, Mitch, do you know such and such? Or I have a friend on Facebook, and one was from another attorney. You were the first person that I thought of to send. If it's in California, I'm thinking, I had to look at the map, like, okay, where are they at? I'm thinking he probably knows someone. Sure, and that's how big it is. We're actually going in for those different referrals. So those of you that are here, I don't want to make sure don't miss any points. So we are going to answer some questions. I
know it's hard. And I don't have access to my keyboard, so otherwise I'd be engaging with you guys. So I apologize ahead of time. But yeah, let's have some fun, definitely.
Yeah. So, and you know what? You can put your questions there if we don't get to them now. Like I said, Mitch, I'm very surprised, but he will respond to you on Twitter. And I'm going to tell you, I have coaches with thousands and thousands of followers. I know others that have followers online, and he still takes that time to engage. So you can definitely do that. Make sure that you are telling a little bird. Make sure that you're following Mitch over on Facebook. Tweet it out. And if you know a solo or small law firm that is just struggling, maybe they don't believe in having an online website, tell them about this, this Blab. Make sure that you tell them, even if it's the replay that you're listening to. Now, Mitch, I wanted to go back. We're going to step back a little bit. You mentioned you had a website up in 1996.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So many attorneys now, and I'm so surprised, but they think of it just as, oh, no one's finding me online. I get all my referrals through word of mouth. It's really a hope strategy. And they look at it, I don't even want to say as an online brochure because it doesn't seem like it gets that much respect. Talk about the importance of, you had your website up. So now you have your domain has been established. You're probably ranking on the front page for your practice area, but talk about why having an online presence is important, specifically a website.
Well, I think that's what the consumers are looking for in today's world. They go to this little tool right here. Your portable media company, which is what we all are right now. And when they have a question, when they have a need, for example, for a lawyer, this is where they go. And, they go to social media, they go to Google, what have you. I know in your book, you talked about SEO and your expertise in SEO. I kind of look at SEO as meaning something a little bit different, social engineering optimization. By being on the social platforms, which I think is today's most powerful search engine. Once you quantify the number of people that ask questions on social, it's really unbelievable. And there's a reason why Google is indexing tweets. Okay, there's a reason why Google's bringing in new content, because that's where the people are. If you want to be digitally relevant, if you want to be seen, noticed, and have an opportunity to help people, you have to have the right type of digital presence. But it's more than that. It's more than just being out there. You have to engage the right way on the digital platforms. Part of my mnemonic, be human. Let me run through these real quick with you because I think it's critically invaluable. If you convince a professional to be online, but he or she does everything wrong, they're going to destroy everything they've worked for, not build upon it, okay? And with Be Human, the B is for be yourself, okay? Be yourself online, embrace the opportunity to be on social. Don't look at it as a chore, look at it as an opportunity, and have your staff and employees educated so they feel the same way. The E is for enthusiasm. Be enthusiastic, okay? Ask yourself, if something happens to you next week, will people miss you online? Will they miss your content? Will they miss your videos? Will they miss your blabs? Will they miss your periscopes? Dive into these platforms with an enthusiastic attitude so that people will look forward to connecting with you. Help others. That's what H is all about. And we've talked about that. U is something a lot of people forget, and that's to understand. I want you to listen actively. Try to understand where your audience is coming from. Listen 70% of the time when you're online and communicate 20 or 30% of the time. M is for make a difference. Make a difference in other people's lives. Answer their questions. Share your secret sauce. Don't worry about it, guys and gals. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Nothing bad's going to happen by you helping people, taking them by the hands and walking them through a difficult situation. When's the last time you had a big problem and somebody took your hand and helped you out? How did that make you feel? Okay. It created a relationship. It connected you with somebody else. You'll be there for them in the future. A is for authenticity, and we talked about that. And N, the last letter in Be Human, it's to never stop learning, to never stop disrupting your industry. For lawyers that do things the same way as everybody else in town, you're doing things the wrong way. If you're not disrupting, if you're not innovating, then you're falling further and further behind. So that's what Be Human stands for in my mind.
Well, that's phenomenal. And for those of you, again, that are watching with us live, thank you so much for tweeting out the show, expert.com. Thank you so much for all of your support and making sure that you're putting information there. What I love about marketing, and I say the same definition all the time, it's activities and content designed to make more of your ideal clients know, like, and trust you so that they're more likely to try, buy, and refer more of your services over time. We are always marketing. all the time. And what works for Mitch, as he said, to be human, it goes for any service professional, and it goes for anyone that has a tangible product. It works. So being online, building relationships, being human, being engaged, being authentic, these are all things that we need to be doing. Mitch, I also wanted to point out one of the things here when you were talking about SEO, of course, as going into this niche, I had to write a book on it, but I actually only have one simple page on it, guys, because you know what? I am much different than all these marketing firms. SEO is not going to get it. A website's not going to get it. Blogging is just not going to get it. But when you have all of these together, I have a firm right now I'm so proud of, because I actually was in one of their accounts today because they're doing a live tax seminar in October. They were blabbing. I introduced it to them every single month. We have something that we send to them. I sat with them and said, you need to Periscope, you need to blab, and they're doing it on their own. And they are, of course, outside of the box, because I'm like, what worked before, prior, some of it still works, right? But if we want to grow our business, if we want to grow our reach, we have to get out there and do more. So I definitely, in SEO, most firms talk about backlinking and strategies. You're not engaging with people with backlinks, and you're not building relationship with backlinks. So again, Mitch, great information.
Well, I mean, it's a big challenge. If you look at what Guy Kawasaki says about SEO, and there's value. There's value to properly writing a blog post or a YouTube description using the right keywords. Don't get me wrong. But I think Guy Kawasaki points out when I chatted with him a few months ago on Human.Social, he said, Mitch, for people to think that they're going to outsmart 3,000 computer science majors at Google as to what's going to show, that's a very optimistic individual. So I think for us, what's worked really well, I mean, let's just take a step back, what's worked for us. And what's worked for us is just engaging on the different digital platforms, providing value, following that be human mnemonic, and thinking about our platforms as welcome mats. Each platform is a welcome mat that invites a visitor on a particular social media platform to contact us with their questions, with their needs, with their concerns. And that's the way I think you need to go about, basically building relationships in today's world.
Think about your platform. I like that. Think about your platform as a welcome mat. I'm going to like what Mitch says here about
it's all yours. It's all yours.
Social engineering optimization, because I'm like that too. I like to think of ways to remember things, and acronyms work really well. And even, he's doing it right. Again, for those of you that are attorneys, my show is all about legal marketing, because at the end of the day, I talk to solos that are mature, 50s and 60s, that never marketed their firms. They didn't believe in an online presence, and they're on the phone with me in tears because they can't even afford our services, because they're going to work the rest of their lives because they don't know what to do. You have to get out there, make sure that you have a website. Yes, you need to make sure that you have content that's optimized. But at the end of the day, and I'm going to tell you, Mitch, if you are doing videos like this that are answering questions, you're engaging, you're building relationship, it's a long-term strategy. So we're not talking about a tactical strategy. Okay, I'm going to build the links, or I'm going to go out and blog one time, or I'm going to think about what comes to my mind and do it once in a blue moon. It is very strategic. It's not a, I'm sure that you get a lot of phone calls from SEO specialists, because I get them on behalf of my clients all the time. And it's, I'm going to get you ranked on the front page of Google. Then what? That's not the complete end of it.
No. Listen, here's the thing. It's what's interesting about what you said is I'm feeling your pain with respect to getting lawyers motivated, taking the next step and going about this adventure the right way. And one way you can do that works really well for us is when a new big case comes into our office, we immediately start sharing our client's version of the story on social. Even though our jury trial is not going to be a year and a half to 2 years out, we start sharing articles and pictures and videos and interviews and things like this, sharing our client's point of view. By the time we get to jury trial, the judge's jury instructions, the jury's they're instructed not to go to social media, not to do independent research on the internet. But I think we all know what they do when they go into the bathroom with one of these. Yep. Okay, I don't know this, but I'm guessing they're probably Googling the lawyers. They're probably Googling the case. They're looking for newspaper articles. I want to make sure that whatever they find up there is accurate, it's real, and it happens to be content that we've put up over the last 2 years, rather than them randomly coming across a case that maybe looks at the facts in a incorrect or misguided way. So for new lawyers wondering why should we be involved with social, you know what, if they're that self-centered and they don't get the big picture, well, then they can start developing their client's case for trial like I just described. And I think what happens is they get the bug. They start seeing the engagement. They start getting people to reach out to them on related cases. Okay, like you're handling this big trucking case that you've been writing about for the last year. This just happened. Can you help me? And so I found that to be a game plan that allows lawyers to take that first couple of steps and then start appreciating the value of social. And it's worked really, really well for us. And I've had jurors after the fact not tell me, but make statements that kind of cause me concern as to whether they were looking at the other side or at our stuff. You got to be careful with what you say when you're talking to jurors. But I'm convinced that our approach to building this footprint on a particular case does go a long ways, especially with some of the verdicts that we've acquired over the years.
And experts.com actually has a great question here. And guys, I will open up the seats here in probably about 5 more minutes. Mitch, does blogging about the case help you to think about your trial strategy?
Well, you know, the honest answer is not really. If I'm first of all, I'm very careful about what we do put out, because I think at trial, I don't think you want to lay all your cards face up on the table. You got to be careful about that. But what I do, Nick, with respect to our strategy with blogging is I want the other side to read what we're writing and to be worried about how things are going to go down. I want them to sense an air of confidence. I want them to appreciate that we're willing to get the case resolved. And if they don't step up and do the right thing, then we'll see them at trial and we'll kick their ass. I mean, honestly, that's the message I send. And I try to do it in a professional way and in a polite way, in a thorough way. But I want the other side to get a snapshot of, okay, this firm's confident about their case. They're confident about the law. They're confident about their abilities. What are we going to do next? So that's kind of my message when we do blogs on active cases.
I love what he said. We're going to kick your ass. All right. Yeah. So I wanted to actually, Mitch, I didn't talk about this beforehand. I'm actually hosting an event here in Atlanta, and I actually want to do a live part of that event where actually can't be live, but I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm actually going to show this video to them there. So it's 30 creative ways to explode the growth of your law firm. Number 6, kind of shock and all the competition. But one of the ways that we're talking about, of course, video can be used in so many different ways. Commercials, talking head, answering questions, web. But let's talk about live streaming video. So talk about how you're using live streaming video. And actually, before I do that, I want to introduce you to Mitch Jackson. So Mitch Jackson is in California. He's devoted as a super lawyer. He is the most active, engaged attorney that I've seen online, using social media right, doing it right. And so I asked him
I'm going to have to give you some hands for that.
Thank you. And I asked him to talk about live streaming. We can use video in so many different ways, but Mitch, in about a minute or so, talk to us about how you're using video to actually explode the growth of your law firm.
Okay, specifically mobile live streaming, game changer. The bi-directional aspect of doing what we're doing, whether it's on Blab, whether it's on Periscope, being able for the audience, for your community to engage with you in real time, that's a game changer. So what we're doing is we are sharing different things about us, about our firm each week. One day's a communication tip. That was today. I shared 10 ways to convincingly start a Periscope. And I did that earlier today. It's at streaminglawyer.com. We talk about Rotary. We talk about legal tips. We talk about distracted driving, online abuse, dealing with trolls. I've got a big show coming up on Wednesday, Montina, about how to deal with trolls with a legal twist. And that's at 11 o'clock, and I think that's going to be very well received. On Thursday, we talk about entrepreneurship and how businesses can use live streaming to build their companies. So it's all of the above. And everything I do, very rarely do I have a call to action. I'm just trying to put great value out there. But I will tell you, this is key right here. This is what's changing everything for anyone that gets involved and approaches the mobile platforms correctly. So we're doing everything we said except in real time. And do we make mistakes as lawyers? Do I use the wrong words? Do I say something that I wish I hadn't said earlier? Of course. Who cares? It doesn't matter, you guys. It's live. We're human beings just like everybody else. It's just a matter of being prepared. It's a matter of being real. It's a matter of really showing your true colors. And it's also a matter of practice and putting some time into it. When I did the Periscope earlier today, I probably put in a good hour last night, putting together my notes, getting everything organized in a way so that when I took the time to do my scope this morning, I wasn't wasting people's time. Hopefully I was adding immediate value that they weren't getting anywhere else. Does it take a little bit of work to be successful on live streams? Yes, it does. Is it worth it? Absolutely. So that's the short answer.
And there you have it. So I can talk all day about how important it is to market, how important it is to actually put in a strategic plan with your marketing and not be tactical. But you know what? Better to hear it from, and I don't call it horse's mouth, but better to hear it from someone that is an attorney, 2013 California Lawyer of the Year, and he has over 23,000 followers on Twitter, and he's managing this himself. He is managing his accounts, he is engaged, and he is still extremely successful with his practice. So you'll have all of the information on how to connect with him and engage with him on Twitter. All right, Mitch, I definitely thank you so much for your time. I want to open it up if anyone has any questions.
Sure.
And if you'd like to jump into, it's not even a hot seat here. But again, this is Legal Marketing Matters. My name is Montina Portis with Creative Internet Authority. We are a full service marketing agency that specializes in legal marketing for solo and small law firms. We only do about 8 practice areas. So we're doing adoption, bankruptcy, business law, estate planning, employment, entertainment, immigration, family law, and tax. So it might be a little more. We don't do PI, but here you have someone that is well-versed in that, trial attorney. So if you want to make sure that you are growing your firm, getting new clients, then definitely make sure that you are using social media, that you are engaged, that you're building a presence online, and also that you have a website. Very important.
It is important. It's interesting. Websites, blogs, someplace where you can just share your secret sauce, share your art. I mean, we all have a unique internal song, our own unique internal art within each of us, regardless of what you do for a living. The secret is to have the courage to go out and share that with the world. And once you figure that out, okay, once you start sharing your art and stop spending a lot of time learning and watching what everybody else is doing, okay? Stop doing that. Turn around and start doing your own thing. Okay, every once in a while, jump in and find out what other people are doing, but do your own thing. And that's when good things really start to happen. I would love it if people would join us in the open seat. And real quick, just before anyone does, we're talking about lawyers. The 7 biggest mistakes I see lawyers make on the social platforms, just real quick, is number 1, all they do is talk about themselves. Instead of helping others, they just talk about themselves. Number 2, they're not authentic or transparent. Number 3, instead of listening and helping, they're standing up on a soapbox and shouting. Number 4, they fail to communicate in simple and easy to understand terms. Number 5, they delegate their content instead of being the person to engage, being the person to actually put out the content. If you have another company do that for you, that's great. Just make sure you're within the circle of what's going on. I had lunch with a friend of mine, he's a very well-known dentist, and I said, Mark, I just love that blog post you put out. He didn't know anything about it. It has nothing to do with it. No, but I mean, he's a busy guy, and he's really good at what he does. But having said that, just be engaged with the company and the provider so that you know what content's being put out there. They use the digital platforms the wrong way. Each platform is used differently. Right. Wrap your head around how to use Twitter. It's different than Facebook. It's different than Instagram, etc. It's different than Snapchat. And last is they fail to engage. Just engage your audience. Don't put people down. Ask open-ended questions. Really listen to what other people have to say. Not everybody wants a fix to their problem or a solution to their problem. Some people just want to talk and vent. And be there for them. Have open ears and listen to what people want to say. So,
wow, this has been amazing, and I'm so glad I had an opportunity to interview you because, again, this is what matters when you are involved in legal marketing. I'm going to tell you, whether you work with you should be working with an agency at least early on. I have, again, at the event that I asked you the question about, the attorney that's speaking there is Randy Kessler, and he's here in Atlanta, Georgia, often on Nancy Grace. He's become a great friend. We've done some videos for his firm. And I'll tell you, he spent so many hours. He said, Montina, I've spent years growing up our family law practice here. Did a lot of things right, did a lot of things wrong. But I'll tell you, personally, my agency, we will not go out and pretend to be your voice. We will market on behalf of your firm page, your LinkedIn firm company page. But when it's your voice, we'll help you understand what to say online. But if it's your name, Mitch Jackson, Montina Portis' company, CIA, Creative Internet Authority, is not going to be your voice. And that's one of the things I do try to tell my clients, because of course they don't have time to blog, they don't want to do anything, which is why we do a lot of videos, because I can at least transcribe that content for them. So here's some secret sauce that I have, because I give it all away. Okay, so lots of everything that I do. My thing is, we can't take on all of the clients in the world. We want solo and small law firms to grow. They're small businesses, they're entrepreneurs. Absolutely. But here it is. You're doing these interviews. One of the things, even when I said, hey, Mitch, I want to have you on, make sure that you're taking these interviews. Pull down the audio on these interviews. You can put them on a CD. I actually have a CD of mine here somewhere in my office. You know, with that CD, when you have a prospective consumer or prospective client or consumer that's calling your firm, why not send them out a copy of that CD interview?
I love it.
Why not do something that's different? Email them that interview. Do something that's different and outside the box. If you're doing a monthly newsletter and you're an attorney, why not interview an attorney that could be a power partner for you? Or if you're a bankruptcy attorney, why not interview a CPA? And again, why not send that out to your prospective clients or in your community or past clients and stay top of mind with your base, your audience?
Great advice. And I think if more lawyers did that, they'd be happier and enjoy what they're doing more. You know, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm more excited about practicing law today than I was 20 years ago. And it's because of social. There aren't many professionals after doing the same thing for 30 years that feel that way. So what does that tell the audience? It tells the audience that I'm doing something right because I really enjoy what I'm doing. And take one of these and go to your client's place of business and interview your client. Okay, put them on Blab, put them on Periscope, and show their manufacturing process or why they enjoy building the widgets that they're building. And the clients will love you for that. You're going to enjoy the process because it's kind of fun, especially when people like Jennifer and Nick join us. I mean, it's just a fun process. It is. The only limit is your imagination on social. Hi, you guys. How you doing?
Right, good.
All right. So welcome, Nick, and welcome, Jennifer. And you know what? I'm going to get over there to what Artie Sells did. I'm going to step away because Mitch said take your camera, and you guys probably saw me looking around my office. So I am going to actually show you something. If you're going to take this to your client's place of business, I want to give you a tip on, again, secret sauce things, guys. Do you have to hire an expert? Do you need an SEO company? Really, like I said, maybe not. It's a great investment, but can you do it yourself? Yes. But if you decide to do it yourself, do it the right way. All right. So, Nick, okay, let's smile, guys.
Got it. I'm listening.
I did the same thing, Mitch. I probably should have told everybody to smile.
We saw you. Your phone was sticking up like this, just about like that.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Nick, go ahead and ask your question. I'm right here in my office, so it's going to take 30 seconds. Go ahead and start with your question.
It really, Mitch. It's sort of it's kind of a statement with sort of a twist on a question, because we're active on a few different social platforms, and we see a lot of personal injury attorneys doing, and we have a lot of users who are personal injury attorneys, or experts.com does. And a lot of them are pumping out these YouTube videos, right? I mean, it seems like they're putting tons of money and tons of time creating these things, because they're clearly well-rehearsed videos, and they got to be spending a ton on this thing. What are your thoughts on these types of videos? Well, I think I know the answer, but please.
Look, I mean, years ago, I have early videos that are just terrible, that I cringe when I watch. And like anything else in life, the more you do something, hopefully the better you get, and you learn from your mistakes. Fail often, fail fast, but don't fail twice at the same time, right? And what I've found that work really well for us is just building relationships. When you look at people like, Gary Vaynerchuk, when you look at Bill Gates, when you look at Seth Godin, I don't remember the last time any of the three of those people put out a call to action during one of their videos or interviews. They talk about what they're passionate about. They're building relationships. And when it's all said and done, the interview's over. And so there's another way in today's world to engage your audience, to build relationships. And for me, it's just to show the human side. And me sitting behind a desk telling you, 3 things you need to do after an automobile accident, which is the same video that's been put out 10,000 times, that's boring, and it's not something that's ever going to be a part of my practice.
Right.
That's a
Thank
great
you.
question.
I want to say hi real quick to Jennifer because we've been in a lot of the same blabs, but I don't think we'd ever talk to each other. Hi, Jennifer.
That's what I love
online.
You meet so many great people. And Nick, I wanted to tell you that was a really great question because
absolutely.
of what I do. We see it all the time. And I do video production and marketing. And when we go to our firms, and beforehand, of course, we have a strategic 52-week campaign. So we know what kind of videos they may complete based on headlines. But when I'm there and they're like, okay, where's the teleprompter? I'm like, no.
Let me jump in real quick before Brian, because I know Brian Fanzo's got a show. He's got a show coming up. But when I talk about being real, and what we were just talking about, Brian, before you jumped in, how you doing, by the way, bud? Is when Brian took the stage at Periscope Summit, New York. The dude was real from the stage. Baseball cap, plaid shirt, jeans, and was probably one of the most popular speakers there, if not the most popular keynotes. And it had to do with he's doing things different than everyone else. Okay. Yep. So Nick, as you already knew the answer to your question because we follow each other, but the reality is, guys, just be real. Be real, and just take your time and build relationships.
One of the things I like about, again, Mitch, I was strategic with asking you, hey, come on to Blab, but you're different. My lawyer rocks. And again, and I'll tell you, even as a marketer, I'm thinking, well, can he say my, I have to think of these things now with the handbooks and, things they can and can't say. And I'm thinking, can he say my lawyer rocks? And he understands why if you're not in illegal marketing.
My teenage daughter at the time, when she came up with that, I said, oh, yeah, that sounds great. She did a hashtag on Instagram. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And look, I'm also at the point where I really don't care anymore. In other words, I've been doing this long enough where I know what works and what doesn't. And I'm just so tired of trying to twist arms and convince other people to do something a certain way. Either you get it or you don't.
Yep.
And, but Jennifer's been here smiling, and we should probably.
I'm going to make room for somebody else. So I'll see you guys.
See you, Nick. Take care, buddy.
Nick. All right. So Jennifer, we have you here. And again, what I was saying with Mitch, with the be authentic, be yourself. Even when I was in corporate America, you all see I'm a young Black American woman, and I'm very different. When I go out to events, a lot of attorneys, I don't typically wear suits. If you saw the dress I had on right now, it's pretty sharp. I always wear pretty bright nail polish, and I always look different. So many people kind of want to just fit in all the time, but whatever it is that you're doing, you need to stand out. What makes you unique? And I talk to attorneys about this too, Mitch. If it's a certain color that you wear, or a certain type of outfit, or certain type of, I have some Black American attorneys that have big hair like mine. They tone it down so much. I'm like, but what makes you unique? What makes you different? So I love that you brought up that about Brian. I love watching his Periscopes. Jennifer, welcome to Legal Marketing Matters. We're talking about legal marketing. And of course, I hope that this helps solo and small law firms understand how to explode the growth of their law firm. We're here with Mitch Jackson. So what's your question today? Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
Well, I think Jennifer's a licensed attorney, and I think she also helps people build their relationships and develop their digital presence, if I'm not mistaken, while she's getting her mic hooked up. And, Brian talks about how noisy it is out there, and I know he's the first that would agree with me. It's interesting, regardless of how noisy it out there, the noisier it is, I think you could argue that the easier it is to stand out. If you've got a herd of cattle going this way, but you're that lion going this way, you're going to stand out. And, I actually have no problem with noise. I have no problem with distractions because 99.99% of the people are doing it wrong. And if you're that 1% that are doing it right, you're going to stand out. And it's just a matter of having the huevos rancheros to do that. That's what it comes down to.
Did it work? Right. Got to stand out and not be afraid. Like Mitch said, you get to a point where it's like, just got to stand out, whatever. All right, Jennifer, are you
Can you hear me this time?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Okay. Did the little restart method. It worked. I'm glad. So like Mitch was saying, I am a licensed attorney. And I actually found that I was able to use social media to change the course of my legal career. So I had been in litigation, was not for me. And I was able to.
It wasn't for you?
I know, Mitch. I wish I had the same enthusiasm that you did about it, but I'm an in-house person and I enjoyed that. I love the human resources, human capital side, a little bit of personnel management in there. So, for me, I was able to shift my career, shift the direction because of social media. I was able to put my research out there on Twitter on a free platform and people were able to see what I knew. And I was able to kind of change the direction that way. So my question is for Mitch, in your kind of day to day, I see you all over social media. How much strategizing are you doing behind the scenes? I know for me, I do a little bit of strategy. I do some content. But at the same time, it's kind of like, oh, I should Periscope this right now. That's kind of how I'm doing some of my social media, especially the live video streaming. So I'm curious for you, someone who is in and out of a courtroom, you have a lot going on during the day. How much strategizing or hacking are you doing in regards to the social platforms?
Jennifer, that is a awesome question. And I think that's the type of question most lawyers are concerned with. Right, is being prepared. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. You know what? I don't think you can ever practice enough. I mean, the bottom line is, if you want to put out good stuff, you got to put in the work, put in the effort, and practice, practice, and practice. The best keynote speakers in the world, best trial lawyers in the world, they practice more than everybody else. That's the bottom line. Now, having said that, I've got a show coming up on Wednesday. It's 11 o'clock. It's going to be on Periscope. It relates to what I saw at Periscope Summit, New York, and the concern people have with trolls, with online harassment, and specifically, men and women are harassed, but the women being harassed and how to deal with it. I put in a lot of time this weekend. I probably put in 4 or 5 hours this weekend putting together a presentation for my Wednesday Periscope at 11. And it's going to lay out how to deal with passive trolls, the type of trolls that just stop by and try to, screw up your broadcast, as opposed to, and it does include trolls that are trying to put you out of business. And I'm going to incorporate the legal side of it, filing Doe lawsuits where you don't know who the troll is, using the power of subpoena for social media platforms and IP providers to get more information to go after these idiots, okay? And so that took a lot of time. I mean, and I'm not even done. I'm going to put in another couple of hours because I want to provide massive content. I'm going to share it in show notes. Now, having said that, some of the best shows I've ever done have been down at Strands Beach, which is in Dana Point, California, where something will happen. I'll think of something and I'll pull this up and just wing it, And I think what it comes down to is, regardless of, if you do it the long way, it's a little bit more prepared presentation, or if something happens that sparks something that you need to jump on it right away, I think all of that's good. You just need to do it in a way where, if you're a lawyer, you want to come across somewhat polished, somewhat informed, and so it just depends on the individual, right? I mean, I've seen you on a couple of shows and we've interacted, and I think you have all the qualities where you could jump right on and do a show. And Montina can too. I mean, so it just depends on what your end game is. But I honestly think putting in the time and putting together a polished presentation, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Most people don't spend the time to do that, right?
Right.
I mean,
and it's relevant. And for something like that, I mean, it's it's an issue that's coming up, and I'm sure you guys talked about it more at Periscope Summit, but that's a big time issue and we need to talk about it more. So I love that.
And the other thing is, when you're walking, and it's the old analogy of social's like walking into a cocktail party, right? So you walk into a cocktail party, you're exchanging smiles, body language, scent, perfume, cologne. You're looking across the room at maybe somebody you want to meet. You're being engaged to your right away by somebody. You can't prepare for all of those contingencies right then and there, but you can, before you go, have a good idea of, okay, this organization that I'm going to, what's it about? What are their needs? How can I help them? Who's going to be there? So you can prepare for what you're walking into. And I think the same applies to social. at that event, if you're just showing up like we're talking about, and you walk in, you can wing it. You can use Periscope, Meerkat, Blab, and wing the show and have a very successful event interaction at that event. If you're at that event and you're keynoting, then you probably need to approach it a slightly different way, right?
Mm-hmm. And, I wanted to point out, a lot of people here live streaming, and you're hearing Mitch talk about winging it. And I'll tell you, I don't know about for you, Mitch, with doing video, but I've been on YouTube since 2009, and I'm going to tell you, if you can survive YouTube and the trolls there, the best thing you could do is block, because they don't even know they're blocked when they're commenting. But you have to understand, when we say wing it, typically by the time I get in front of any type of camera, Periscope, if I'm doing a Blab, I've talked about it in the car, thought about it all night, probably sat at my computer, and it's to the point where I just have to get it off my chest. Why I have to share this with somebody. And most of the time, if you listen to people that are doing these Periscopes and Blab, they'll say, well, I had to do this because, or I was thinking. And so you kind of rehearse it over and over. But I think if people hear live streaming, they automatically think, I don't have to prepare. I'm just turning on the camera. No, you still have to be prepared with that, whatever topic you're using. So we have about 3 minutes left. So I see, Anthony, that you want to get in.
Wait, real quick, before Jennifer runs. Montina, you said something, and that is, the reality is I can usually grab a file and on a case I've never handled before, I've never even read about, and show up tomorrow morning for trial and do a pretty good job for my client. I've just done it so many times. Mm-hmm. When it comes to live streaming, the more you do it, the more habits you develop, the better you get. And so, Jennifer, as I'm sure you're already doing, it's pretty easy to wing. If there's an issue out there, I have a 5-step process on most issues on how I deal with it. And I can take that offline process onto any type of online interaction. And that process for the viewers is, first of all, you have to discuss what is the problem? What's the issue being discussed? Why is it an issue? Next, you need to agitate it. Why is it a problem? How's it going to harm somebody? Why is this a problem worth discussing? The third step is offering a solution. The fourth step is sharing with your audience how the solution you're offering helps him, her, or it. And the fifth step, depending on what you're doing, is a call to action. So regardless of what the topic is, at a cocktail party, during a jury trial, during a deposition, whether it's a Blab, you can use those 5 steps as a foundation to come across in an organized fashion to deal with the issue. So when I say wing it, I'm also talking about using some well-established foundational, tips to help do that. But you're already doing that. I've seen you online. It's really good to see you today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I will jump out so you can end the show on time. Thank you both very much.
All right. Thanks, Jennifer. Stay in touch, okay?
I will. Connect. All right. So you guys, we got so much information. Go ahead, Mitch.
But don't you agree? It's like when I say winging it, you're winging it based upon your life experiences, right?
You know what? Life experience. That's why I said a lot of people here just wing it. And for us, you could give me any topic right now, and I probably could talk about it, even if I don't have. But I have about 500 YouTube videos. And in the book that I wrote about YouTube, I tell people I've been YouTubing since 2009. I got 3.5 million views on these tubes. I've been in San Francisco. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been in St. Louis, and people say, oh my God, is that Spark Wisdom? That's my moniker online. But I've done it so much.
So let me ask you a question. Yeah, yes. I mean, you're an expert at that. So let's go back 5 months. The creation of Periscope.
Yeah.
Just a couple of months. The creation of Blab, Meerkat. Share with your audience, what are your thoughts on these new mobile bidirectional live streaming platforms? In your mind, the importance of them compared to the traditional YouTube or Google Hangouts type of platforms. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I definitely think the live streaming is definitely important for answering questions, but you have to know your audience. And I'll tell you, just as there's a positive, there's a negative, because they are distracting. I see a lot of people getting online, and I'll tell you, Mitch, I'm a marketer and I'm about being strategic. I see so many people. I live in the land of all the hustlers in Atlanta, and everyone's in business. And you got a business card, but they're not really in business. And so the importance is there to make sure that you are out there, making sure that you have informative content, educational, that it's authoritative. And I'm all about positioning myself as an expert. I'm about positioning myself as the best, because I want to attract people to work with me. And so I think that you definitely should get on the Periscope bus. you should definitely get on the blab bus, but be strategic on how you're using it. You're getting on there and you're just sitting. That's why I brought out, I can't find the top of this. And Brian, who's out here, iSocial, you're the one I learned about the Joby and the jellyfish. But I got this for a reason. Look, if you're going to do it, Mitch, here's my thing. If you're going to do it right. Get a little mini tripod that you can put your phone up on. And there should be a top here, but I have 2 of these. One's in the car.
These are cool too.
Yeah, get something where it's, you'd be surprised at how shaky the video is. Understand the platform. Okay, Periscope is gone in 24 hours. Understand why you're blabbing like that and understand what you're going to use your blab for. Mitch will tell you, I sent him and said, you're going to get a transcribed interview. I know that I'm going to pull these blabs and put them into a CD. Again, Mitch, I see so many people that are doing it wrong and they're distracted because they don't know why. So is it important? Yes. But ask yourself why.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself the why behind why you're doing all the above. Why are you getting out of bed in the morning? Why are you going online? And with lawyers, real quick, I'll just tell you the resistance I've heard until I explained about the art of repurposing is that, well, I don't have an hour to do this or an hour to do that. Okay. And you referenced, taking the audio and putting it on a CD. What we do, everyone, is with every single show, every single blog post, every single live stream, we repurpose it 10 to 12 different ways. We'll take this blab and we'll share it on our various blogs. Yes. We'll take, if it's our show, we'll take bits and pieces and break it down to 2 to 3 minute segments and do quick Q&As on the different platforms. We'll create the script from this and turn it into 10 or 20 different tweets over the next month and a half in Hootsuite. We'll share images on Instagram. We'll throw an image up on Pinterest and link it back to the blog site. We'll do Snapchats of different portions of the blab or the interview. This particular, if I'm doing a blab, if I'm doing a video, that's a script for a podcast. Yep. And so you can take one item and repurpose it literally dozens of different ways over the next couple of months, and you're going to get your bang for the buck. And it's really a fun way of going about, taking that big digital footstep onto the digital platforms and helping as many people as you can and making good things happen.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and end the show because I want to be honorable with your time, Mitch. I want to thank you for coming on today. And again, I strategically chose you because you're engaging, you're building relationships. Everything that you hear him say that he's doing, we've probably been connected at least a few months online. I can't say exactly how much, but I'll tell you, he's engaged. When I initially reached out, I said, wow, this is a great guy. I want to start following. He's doing, some great things online. He's doing everything that he says. So if you're a solo or small law firm, if you've been in business over 20 years, like my newest client that came on Friday, and you just can't figure things out, reach out to those that are already online. And you know what? Even if you're just reaching out to follow what they're doing and use them as a template, do that so that you can understand how to explode the growth of your law firm. So Mitch, once again, thank you so much for being a guest on Legal Marketing Matters. And to all of you that joined us today, there were so many that tweeted out the show that were connected. And I appreciate all of you joining today. And I hope that you walked away with some nuggets that you're going to use right away in your firm or just in your business. So once again, my name is Mon. Oh, go ahead, Mitch.
I was going to say, thank you, Montina. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, it's been my absolute pleasure, Mitch. And again, my name is Montina Portis with Creative Internet Authority, and we are a full-service marketing agency. We specialize in legal marketing for solo and small law firms. And you can get my book out on Amazon. But if you're an attorney, go to How to Market Your Law Firm Online, and I'll send it to you for free. How's that? But if you're a marketer, which a lot of you are, and you want a copy, go out to Amazon and you can purchase it too. So again, thanks again, Mitch, for being on the show. You're awesome. If there's anything I can ever do, orally, let me know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. Thank you.